dating advice as a concept is really funny to me because it's like, and it depends, of course, because I love giving people advice. I love dating advice, like all of that stuff. But at the same time, if the advice you're hearing is that you should change your like genuine overall behavior, meaning like not just like contextually what you're doing, but like how you are as a person or how you present to other people, how you are as a person. I've always like immediately rejected that kind of advice because in the back of my head, I'm like, well, the person that I really want and would believe is like actually for me would enjoy these traits about me, even if most people don't. And that's why you're telling me like a particular kind of advice. Like, okay, let me think of an example. Okay, so lately this year, I'm constantly meeting guys that like love the idea of meeting a woman who's like really into her career or like who's really ambitious or they think makes a lot of money or whatever it is, right? And then immediately though, in the back of their mind, they want a woman like that. Not even in the back of their mind, they'll say it because you know me, I ask every question off the top of my head. But it's like, that's the kind of woman they're drawn to. And that's the kind of woman they then want to domesticate and turn into a housewife that's going to cook every meal. They don't want to eat food that the staff would make because in Nigeria, you know, you're of a certain tax bracket, it's pretty common to have staff. So it's like, you want a woman that's extremely busy because the kind of woman you're attracted to would be very busy if she's like a career woman. And then at the same time, in the same breath, you think it's normal to say, I shouldn't have to direct staff, like, she should come home and make sure that I don't eat jollof rice twice in a single week. Like, I shouldn't talk to the chef. Like, she should talk to the chef. And it's like, well, why? It's like, you're working, she's working, but because your work, you decided your money pays the bills or whatever. I'm literally telling you what I've heard. Your money pays the bills or whatever, then she should still be in charge of the home. But it's like, that just means that you go to work, the money you made when you went to work, because it's being put towards the household, your only job is to work. But she still works, so because her money is, I don't know, her own money or whatever, even if she made more than you, again, quoting people, she should come home and still have a second job of taking care of the entire household, talking to the chef, doing all of this stuff. And it's like, if it's really equal or makes sense to you, then switch it, right? Like, okay, fine, she goes to work, you go to work, her work will generate the money for the income, and you should speak to everything else in the household because you know that that's two separate jobs, right? But anyways, what was I talking about, right? So then with this dating advice stuff, so they are expecting you, or they think like, oh, you shouldn't have staff at home, we can handle it ourselves, the we being, of course, the woman, because you know damn well he's not about to go do those chores. He just doesn't want an external staff in his home, and then he still wants everything to be done perfectly, again, by the woman that, again, will still be working, and all of this stuff. And it's like, okay, that's perfectly fine, but imagine if I took like, and then if you tell them like, actually, I don't even tell people what my preferences are because I don't feel like I need to explain my preferences to people that don't have a chance. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, why go back and forth about what I expect and what you expect? Because I don't expect you to do what I expect because, like, it was never going to be you. Like, you know, like, you're telling me your preferences because maybe you're hoping that you'll convince me or we'll get to a common ground. But I don't think we need to get to a common ground because it was never going to be you in the first place. So as much as everyone thinks I'm very argumentative, I really gave up the idea of debating just for the sake of debating a very, very long time ago. Like nowadays, if you think I'm debating or arguing, I just probably have an opinion on a topic, but I don't go back and forth about things that don't make sense with people that I know don't agree with me because it's wasting my time, right? So anyways, though, people will be shocked at the idea that, you know, someone doesn't want to do that. Imagine you don't want to go be like a superhero woman and like be working and come home and do more work just because you love this, you know, mediocre person that's like in your ear nagging you or whatever it is. And it's like, then shockingly on top of that, they will be confused as to why you really don't give a shit if you date or not. Because it's like, look at the dating pool. There's piss in the dating pool. There's piss in the dating pool. Like, if they literally would be like, oh, what do you mean you want to be single? No woman wants to be single. What? Of course I want to be single. If the option is be single or date men like you, like, yeah, I'm good. Actually, I'm fantastic. Actually, I love it. I love my life the way it is because, like, none of you make any sense. Like, and when someone does make sense, cool. We will make sense together. But until then, like, I really don't care. And they will try to, again, like, they'll be confused by that. But the point of this episode was taking advice that doesn't make sense for you, right? So the thing is, if you then tell me like, oh, obie, but you have to be reasonable, you have to compromise, I guess, right? That would be advice. And in some instances that makes sense, but like, no. Like, no. Actually, no, I don't. Because the reality is, if I say, fine, this thing that I know about myself that I prefer, that completely clashes with this other person, I'll just compromise, quote unquote, on it because this other person wants it a certain way that I absolutely disagree with. Let's meet somewhere in the middle and both be miserable or whatever it is, or argue for the rest of our lives. Why? Like, why? Because there is someone out there who sees things the exact way I see things. So why would I go and compromise with someone that sees it so differently than me just to make sure that I'm in a relationship that has grounds for constant conflict or disagreement when I could just be like, no thanks, like, good luck to you, good luck to me, let's go find people that agree with us. Like, hello? Like this, like that, I just feel like that makes sense. So yeah, it's like when it comes to advice, dating advice, frankly, advice in general, if the advice is asking you to change something fundamental about yourself in order to get a certain outcome, the outcome that you would even get after changing, conforming, adjusting, compromising is not even an outcome you want. So why would you compromise for it? Right? Like, if I already know that I'm picky about relationships or whatever it is, and then you tell me to compromise to get a relationship that I already don't care about having, and then I go and compromise into getting myself a relationship that is the kind of relationship that I specifically have no interest in having, then yay, the result I get for compromising is a garbage relationship that I didn't want. Like, why would I take that advice? Like, no, I'm good. But it really goes for like anything, honestly. So it's like, even career stuff, right? When people, of course, part of it is survival, and people will advise you from a place of their own experience or what they've learned over time or what they've seen, right? And they will advise you from their own position of limitation. So any of their own limiting self-beliefs, they will also project onto you, or they'll typecast you and like your abilities and outcomes based off of whatever they believe, right? So if someone is advising an artist and they're telling that artist, like, no, like, you're going to be a starving artist, like, you should look into being a lawyer instead. And this person doesn't even like to read. Like, okay, you can listen to that person and be like, you're right. Like, I don't want to be a starving artist. Let me just like compromise. Or not compromise, but let me just like, look into a different profession. Let me look into studying law because, maybe I'll have more reliable income or blah, blah, blah. Okay, cool. You go ahead, you take the advice, you study law, you become a lawyer, you hate being a lawyer. That's your reward. Like, the reward for taking advice that didn't make sense, that changed fundamentally who you are and what you care about, is that now you get to live a life where you're doing something that you don't care about, that doesn't align with who you are. Like, congratulations? Like, no. Like, if you know you want to be an artist, then you should be taking advice. Not like you shouldn't take advice from people who aren't artists, but if you know, like, deep down, that's the thing that gives you joy that you want as a profession, because there's also people that enjoy art that wouldn't want to do it as a profession. But if you know that's what you want to do, then you should be investigating ways to make a livelihood out of being an artist, which there's so many ways. Like, there are people who have a whole income off of making stickers or prints. So I recently discovered this thing where people make these tiny little drawing series and people almost collect them like Pokemon cards online. So they just draw these like tiny little series and like post them online. They get paid for that. People turn their art into like prints. They make fabrics. You can submit to galleries. You can submit to like get into residencies. You can build community. You can build a career around like the entire business of art. Like, you could become a curator. You could become someone that writes about the art. You could become a historian. Like, there are millions of jobs in that space. So this idea that like you have to be a starving artist or you can be a lawyer, and then you go and pick lawyer because someone told you shouldn't be an artist, and now you're doing something that's so against like the grain of the interest you genuinely have, like, congratulations, you get to live a life that you don't want to have. Like, so I just feel like you should be careful about how you approach those things. Now, if someone said something like, okay, because we've been told around like the struggles artists have with like finding livelihood from it, you should just maybe, I don't even necessarily say like, oh, have a backup plan that's so split, but just someone encouraging you to be conscious of that, encouraging you to have some kind of stability in your life as you figure out what else is going on. So like, for example, if you knew you wanted to be an artist, but you don't really know what that looks like, you don't even know what kind of art you want to explore, you don't know if you want to be, any of even the suggestions I just gave, maybe something realistic they would tell you is like, oh, maybe you should go volunteer or do Teach for America. Because I feel like art like benefits from being exposed. So like the more exposure you have to the world, the better. But if someone was giving you advice about like, oh, something you can do in the meanwhile, or something you can do to get income, or something you can do to just like balance the scales while you explore art, or things you can do to explore art in like a structured way that's like cost effective, fine, because we're still in the realm of things that make sense. And we're not telling you to like not be who you are or to give up what you love. But if someone says, no, what you love, who you are, what you like, whatever, no, like you already know that person should not be giving you advice, because they've already like, basically they want to, you're a tree and they want to chop. They don't want to prune your leaves or your branches or whatever. They literally want to just chop off the, what's the bottom of a tree called? Like just cut you out and put you somewhere else. It's like, okay, good luck. Like that doesn't, you see how that doesn't make sense? Anyways, just, yeah, it's interesting to me. It's very interesting to me. Be very careful, like what advice you absorb, because I just feel like you should always remember like what your North Star is. And you don't even need like perfect clarity on what you want to have a North Star, but you'll feel it like in your gut. And you should also like practice trusting your gut around like what really makes sense to you, what resonates with you. And if you do want to be single-minded, just know you have to go after it. And this is something else to say too, is like, if you know that you want something or want it a particular way, like also be prepared for the fact that like the thing you want may actually not work out perfectly, or the thing you want may actually like be something you later don't enjoy. But I also think it's great because you don't have to regret exploring it, because you know that you followed the authentic desire you had in the moment when you chose to do that thing. And usually it still reveals something else you'll want in the long term, right? So like another example I'd give is, and my mom is happy about this now, but it's like, I actually haven't changed my position as much as she thinks I have. It's also funny whenever I mention my mom, because I feel like I mention her in these podcasts a lot, and I do know she listens to like every episode. So love you, Mom, like shout out. So yeah, anyways though, my mom like has noticed that as I've gotten older, but like nowadays, if you see me dressed up, I really love like long clothing. Like my clothing is a lot more modest than it used to be, right? And I remember when I was younger and I wanted to dress up and all of this stuff, and like obviously your school would be annoying about it, and my mom would be like, girl, what are you wearing, and all of this stuff. And then she didn't even really see what I was wearing in college necessarily, although I'm sure she had an idea. But it's like, ultimately she's like, oh look, you figured it out, see, I've been trying to tell you this whole time. But the thing is, I don't dress modestly now because I'm like on this modesty is the way kick, or like, those people on Instagram that like they go from dressing, showing skin, and then they go through this whole Christian revolution, and then they start dressing modestly and like judging everyone. No, it's just that like that particular style of clothing I really enjoy now, and I get like fixated on things, and now it's like everything in my wardrobe is like a dress, and like a long dress, because I think they're pretty and very flattering and whatever, right? But the truth of the matter is too, and I made an episode on this, I think it was about like modesty, maturity, marginalization in men or something like that. I actually really liked that episode. But anyways, something I noticed in the fact that my style has evolved over the past like several years is that you absolutely are treated differently based on your clothes. And I knew that before in high school, because even making the switch between dressing super plainly to dressing up and all of that stuff in school made people see me a certain way, to now like I still dress up, but I'm more like modest in appearance just because of the dramatics of the kinds of clothes I'm wearing, kind of like the length of the skirts and whatnot. But it's like I'm noticing all of these like trends and patterns and all of this stuff, but I'm not like doing it out of judgment. It's just that like my preference in clothes has changed. If I wanted to dress like a whore, I'd go straight back to dressing like a whore. I just don't happen to be in the mood right now. And also, that's a joke, okay? There's no way to dress like a whore. That's a whole thing. Let's not even get into that right now. But my thing is, right, at the time when I wanted to dress and show skin and wear whatever I wanted and everyone leave me alone, when I was in that phase of my life, you just could not tell me what to do. You just couldn't stop me from doing it because I knew what I felt like I wanted to do. I wanted to be able to express myself. I'd grown up with like uniforms my entire life or like dress codes my entire life. And I was just over it. So when I got to college, I was so excited to just wear whatever I wanted to wear at any moment that I felt like wearing it. And I really didn't give a shit what anyone had to say about it. I didn't give a shit if people decided that if you wear X, that must mean Y. You can decide whatever you want. I feel however I want and I feel good. And that was it for me. And the truth is, yeah, did it affect, as you'll see if you've listened to that other episode that I mentioned before, I think it's episode like 18, but it's like, yeah, did it affect other things? Definitely. Did it make people form opinions about me really quickly? Sure, because people are visual creatures, right? So they're going to judge you or try to put you in boxes. Men were definitely putting me in boxes. Lucky for me, I didn't give a fuck about their opinion. Like, pardon my French, I did not care about their opinion, like at all. Frankly, still don't, but at least I like have people like men and like, I don't know, I've always had men in my life. Obviously I listen to because I love my dad and everything, love my brother and everything. But it's like the people that were putting me in boxes, I really didn't give a shit about their opinion anyway, and still don't. Because for me, I'm like, if someone's outfit distorts your ability to like discern their character and their humanity so much, then like you're not the kind of person I want to be around anyway, because I find that super odd. But anyways, it's like, yeah, people definitely put me in boxes because of that decision. And of course, they put me in boxes because of other decisions I was making too. But at the end of the day, going and reflecting from like that period in my life to now, ultimately, I'm still glad I did what I wanted, because if I didn't, I would still be reflecting back and being like, why did I not like do XYZ? Why did I not express myself? Because I enjoyed getting to do what I wanted. And frankly, even if it came with repercussions, to a certain extent that are outside of your control, and just like polarizing reactions, whatever, and now I've also learned what that looks like and what it's like to deal with that. And when it comes to dating too, it's very interesting now to be around the exact same kinds of men who back then would have put me in those like same boxes that now they meet me and like they want to be official within a week and they want to talk about marriage and all of this stuff. And it's like, I'm not a moron. I'm not suddenly like I know I'm the same person I was then. So I'm not necessarily interested again in being with people that like, profile in that specific way. It kind of just icks me out. But like I said, I was stubborn about what I wanted at the time. And I'm glad I was stubborn because I saw it through and I stood on business. And frankly, even stopping the thing I was standing on business about in terms of like, I want to wear what I want, I want to do what I want, whatever. Even the evolution away from that did not come because of other people. It still just came from me. So it's just more like is the word happenstance? Just like more of like okay, I guess that time of my life is over, at least for now, right? But like I was saying before, if you make a decision that you want something a certain way, like, okay, I want to be an artist. I don't care if everyone says I'm going to starve. Like, I'm not going to listen to other people. Just be prepared to, in your own way, figure out what that means. Figure out what the struggles with that are. Figure out, like, there's pros and cons to everything, right? Hopefully, of course, it works out to, like, your best expectations. And, of course, you're also going to see, like, any of the negative repercussions associated with that decision. And of course, people around you that you didn't listen to are going to be like, see, I told you, or da-da-da-da. Or if, your choices change over time and evolve, because they do, and everybody does that, they're going to love to say like, see, I told you, blah, blah, blah. But it's okay to be hard-headed. I actually think it's fantastic because me and my very, very hard head, we had to go out there and get knocked around a bunch of times before things got through. But when they got through, it was like a very interesting revelation. And I was still just grateful that my skull was so freaking strong because I got to enjoy the decisions I was making, if that makes sense. So, moral of the story, and we'll close this episode out, is when you make your decisions and you're observing, trust your gut and do what feels right to you in the moment, within reason, of course. And if people are giving you advice, be careful how you filter that advice and use discernment to say, if you take advice that forces you to basically abandon, the subject matter, like forces you to abandon the thing in your gut that you truly want, you will end up with a result of that abandonment. Like you will end up with a result that drifts from the thing that you wanted. And that's the truth. And on the other hand, as you make those decisions and filter advice and whatever it is, even if you stick to your guns about something and you keep conviction about something that people disagree with, which is totally fine, just be aware of the fact that you're going to learn things your own way, right? Because you chose to learn through your own life experience instead of learning through whatever someone else wanted to say that would force you to kind of be pushed completely away from your initial desire or your initial choice. And that's also fine because either way, you will learn from it. You'll have an experience and you'll get to react after, but you can't react without doing it. So yeah, that's what I wanted to say today. And thank you guys so much for thinking out loud with me here on Live Lumani. My name is Obie. I'll give you a second to follow the podcast. Great. And I really encourage you to share these episodes with, your friends, because I'm sure if you're making it all the way to the end and you find these topics interesting, there's someone out there that right, that is in your circle and thinks similarly to you. I also think it'd be cool to share with a friend you've not spoken to in a while when you hear something that like makes you think of them, or you hear something that you're like, oh, I want to kind of bite into this and have a conversation with someone in real life, right? Because I'm not speaking into the void, obviously, I'm speaking to you, but so that you can enjoy like thinking through these things with your own people. And yeah, send it to someone you've not spoken to in years and just see what they have to say, right? Leave me a comment if you made it to the end. It can be a picture of a beverage. I love a beverage. I ordered like 2 matchas this morning. I've gotten really into matcha. It's kind of a problem. So now I need to figure out how to make it because they're like deciding every morning about like where to get it from and blah, blah, blah. And then and eventually deciding not to get it at all is like really wasting my time. Anyways, that's all from me. I'll see you guys next time. Love you so much. Mwah.